Hi, this is Brian with 321 Stretch and B Morgan Fitness. I currently live in Melbourne, Florida, and I want to just give you a little talk about the new book I have out on Amazon, Built for Life After 50. And what it is, it's a book for the average person who doesn't necessarily want to compete or want to be in the gym 5-6 days a week, but you need to do some strengthening. You need to work on some flexibility and mobility because you may have some aches and pains, and you probably, if you're most of us over 50, you've lost a little bit of flexibility and or mobility, or if not, then you're like me, just about to turn 60. You'll see a little change with time, but so basically, my passion for over 50 fitness started. I started a small studio back in 2009, actually back in the Iowa area where I'm from. And my passion was this. I saw a lot of my relatives, my grandparents, my great grandparents, kind of aged poorly, spend their last years in various assisted living facilities, and just in some cases their mind wasn't there, didn't know what was going on, and but it's just kind of like, hey, maybe if they'd done some exercise, some fitness, paid more attention to their health, maybe that doesn't happen. I'm not saying you can cut all of those out just by exercising and eating right and being healthy and so forth, but I think if you want to, my philosophy is if you want to be active in your 70s, 80s, or even beyond, you need to be training for that in your 50s and 60s, and that's really what this book is about. And I'm going to be producing some various courses, digital courses, to kind of go along with that. So if you're somebody in that age range and maybe not sure what to do, or there again, I think there's a huge gap between people train hours and hours and hours of training for a specific competition, whether it's bodybuilding competition or they run marathons, triathlons, whatever. There's people somehow think that that's the standard. And yes, if you want to compete or be in competition or be competition fit, yes, it takes hours and hours of training. But if you're the average person who just wants to be a little stronger, feel better, move better, have less aches and pains, it doesn't take 5-6 days a week in the gym, and that's really what my programs are about. The programs that I did with my training clients. So I had in 2009, I opened a small studio. I was focusing on those in their 40s and 50s, and over time, they included, as they got older, included people in their 60s. But yeah, I kind of focused on those 45 to 65, and they were doing 3 workouts a week with me, and less than an hour, usually 45 minutes to 50 minutes, and they go home and be active, move on their own. And that's what I like to do. I don't like to work out in the gym 5-6 days a week. I admire those who do, but that's not what, let's face it, that's not what most of us are looking to do. So I did that for 3 years. I had my studio in 3 different locations that I rented. And later on, I ended up in a chiropractic clinic and had it there for so about a total of 6 years. I really focused on the 45 to 65-year-old population. And as you can see, like I say, I'm in that population myself, just about to turn 60 here. But this is a picture back in 2010, a little local fitness competition. Myself and some of my clients did, just a little picture there, and maybe not real focused in this picture, but the point is, I've been interested in over 50 fitness for years, and like I say, I think there's this gap between people not doing much and a lot of people doing a lot. And whatever you're doing that's working for you, that's great. I'm not telling you that there's anything wrong with that. I'm trying to get the average person to realize there's a lot they can do, even if they've had some bumps and bruises. I had a lot of injuries in my 20s and early 30s from lifting weights and playing sports, and didn't know as much about things as I did then. But I found ways to work through or work around all those issues, and so far never having had surgery. Knock on wood. But yeah, you need to, if you're over 50, you need to work on your flexibility, mobility. You need to work on some strength. Two or 3 days a week. It can be longer if you want, but 2 or 3 days a week is adequate. And then just get out and move. Do some cardio on your own. Walk, ride a bike. Swim, kayak, pickleball, whatever. But golf. Do whatever you like to do. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to tell people in the book, but also show you things you can do in the various, like I say, digital courses I'm currently working on. But just give you an example of, business-wise, maybe I wasn't so great, with my studio, but there's a fitness franchise out there now called Alloy Personal Training, based out of suburban Atlanta, and they focus on the 45 to 65-year-old age group, and their clients come in 3 times a week, and some of them only come in twice a week. There again, a lot of people in large cities, you may spend an hour commuting one each direction. You may work long hours. You have kids. You've got to go here and there, transport and or watch their various activities or games. You may not have 5-6 days a week to spend in the gym, or you're like the average person, you don't want to spend 5 or 6 days in the gym, and that's okay, but you can still get results. And there's a lot of ways you can do that, and you just need to find what I call big bang exercises, meaning you're working a lot of muscles all at once instead of trying to isolate biceps or triceps. You got plenty of time to do that? Yes, you can do that. But if you're not a bodybuilder, then that's not going to give you a lot of bang for your buck. You want to use multiple muscles, multiple joints in every exercise. You're going to burn more calories. You're going to stimulate your metabolism. So some of the things that I'm going to talk about, for example, blood flow restriction training. And maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't. Basically, it's you would put this, for example, around the arm, upper arm, and tighten that up, and then we would inflate that, to a certain, measure intensity, and do various exercises while you've got these cuffs inflated. And what that does is it slows the amount of oxygen and blood flow to the muscle, makes the muscle fatigue faster, so you get a lot more done in a shorter amount of time, but also with a lot less weight. If you're like a lot of people, I have injuries to both elbows, both shoulders, and so I can't use the kind of weight I did years ago. But with this, I can use lighter weight and higher reps and get very similar results. Or even if you're somebody who pretty close to using what you did in the gym all this time, hey, doing this every once in a while may take a little stress off the joints and may help you stay at a higher level for a longer time while minimizing the risk of injury. Let's face it, that's what we all want. We want to stay active and not hurt, and we want to minimize the risk of injury. So blood flow restriction is used by all the athletes at the pro level at this point. Now, what they're doing is more what you call recovery. For example, I saw one picture of an NFL football team. They had these on their legs, and they're pedaling on a stationary bike after the game, just there again, move the fluids, so they don't hurt as much, not so stiff and so forth the next day. But yeah, but there again, what may be a quote-unquote recovery workout for an elite athlete in their 20s, early 30s can be an actual workout for those of us older. So blood flow restriction, it's gonna really take off probably in the next 2 to 3 years with general population, because there again, it's like why use heavier weight if you get results with less weight, less time, and most importantly, less stress on the joints, which most of us over 50 could use. But a lot of different things here. You see kettlebells. I'm going to go over the kettlebell swing. It's at some point the kettlebell swing. If you did no other exercise but the kettlebell swing, the Russian swing, you're going to get more bang for your buck, than probably any other exercise you can do at home. and with very little equipment. It takes up very little space. The Russian kettlebell swing is probably one of the best exercises you can do regardless, but especially if you don't have a lot of time or a lot of space. But there's numerous things, obviously stretching and mobility. So I love doing stretching and mobility work with suspension trainers. They're great for that. Also, stick mobility. So I do a ton of stretching and mobility work with stick mobility. So basically the sticks are I think they're fiberglass, but they're very strong, yet they bend a little bit. So because they can bend, yet they're very strong, allows you to do a lot of different things. Work on some various isometrics and positions. They may be hard to get into otherwise. I really love them. A lot of athletes and pro golfers use these for flexibility. But anyway, like I say, it's, that's why I kind of wrote that book and developing various courses. But if you're here in the Melbourne area, want to work with me in person, I've got contact information there. For the next, if you want a free digital copy of my book for the next, 3 or 4 days, it's on my website, bmorganfitness.com. But if you want to go ahead and you want the paperback version, go ahead. It's on Amazon right now. So basically, that's what this book about. That's what the name change of this channel is about. And if you have any questions or comments, throw them in there. And I hope to show you a lot of different things you can do at home. It's going to make a big difference in how you age and how you feel.